Good day, everyone. So, we are the Group 7, and allow me to introduce to you my group mates. So, we have Jay Lafranco, Christine May Quieta, and Jaika May Naparan, and yours truly, Lorea Shane Lagura. So now, before I introduce to you our topic, let us first have a short activity. So this is called Four Picks One Word. So I guess you are all familiar with this game. So this is very simple. So you just have to guess the specific word that fits to the theme of the word or the pictures presented. So let's have the first picture. So, what do you think is the specific word that fits to the theme of the pictures? Okay, technology. And then we have the second picture. So, what do you think is the word that associates with the four pictures presented? Way, that's right. And the last one? Okay, that is revealing. So now, do you have any idea what our topic will be all about today? So now our topic is all about the technology as a way of revealing. So we have our learning objectives. At the end of the lesson, the student should be able to first explain the concept of human condition before science and technology. Second, identify the change that happened in human condition after science and technology, and name ways on how technology aided in revealing the truth about human being. So if we try to compare the lives of the people before and now, it will make anyone realize the changes that happen in society, not just in terms of culture, language, or rights, but more importantly, changes in people's way of life due to the existence of science and technology. So by drastically changing our means of communication, the way we work, our housing, clothes and food, our methods of transportation, and indeed, even the length and quality of life itself, science has generated changes in the moral values and basic philosophies of mankind. So, with the help of things like microwaves, fans, smartphones, and cars, science and technology have made cooking, sleeping, and communicating and transportation easier and faster. Diba before, our ancestors' mode of transportation is only walking. So before they learned domesticating animals such as donkeys or horses, their mode of transportation is only through walking. But now we have many modes of transportation, just like the cars, tricycles or bicycles, and also airplanes, and many more to mention. So all these made our lives easier and comfortable. So that we have the term generation gap, which is attributed mainly to the changes brought about by technology. Although the original idea is for technology to help everyone, it cannot be denied that until today, not everyone is comfortable in using the different kinds of technologies. So, for example, we have our grandparents, no? So, they would find it very hard, nya, mana sila sakit ra na sa o, ang paggamit sa technologies. It is because they belong to the older generation that and they think that these technologies are too complicated to operate. So they have been used to the simple living in the past, and these available technological devices, though it is very appealing, are a difficult puzzle to them. So, however, this gap is not something to be worried about. So, this does not in any way make technology a villain. So instead, it is a challenge for the people in the field of science and technology to make these technological advancements more accessible and less confusing for people who are not as young anymore. So And also, this is a challenge for the younger generation to take the older generation to an exciting journey in science and technology. So, in this way, everyone can experience what it is like to live with ease and comfort because of the availability of modern technology. So we also have to encourage our grandparents nga, to use the technology because we also have to encourage other people to experience no dili lang kita ang maka-experience what it is like to have this modern technology. So even before people are already fascinated with science and technology. So this fascination lead to numerous magnificent inventions that people in the present are able to enjoy and benefit from. So, through science and technology, people get to experience what it really means to live because it helps people in more than ways than one. So, people who lived in the past and people who are living in the present all have different views of what it means to flourish. So primarily due to the kind of environment and the period one is in. So people's way of life and how the society works also affect how one interpret the concept of human flourishing. So the environment also needs to be assessed in order to know the possibility of human flourishing and to what extent it is possible. So, since there have been drastic changes in people's way of life, it can be inferred that there have been drastic changes not only in the conception of human flourishing, but to people's actual human condition. So, these changes were brought about by the interplay of different factors, but essentially it was brought by science and technology. So now let us try to know the human condition in different eras or period.
Good day, everyone. I am Jay Manchalo Franco, and today we will be talking about the human condition before the Common Era. So, before the Common Era, there is little to no written accounts except for the cave drawings and unearthed artifacts that enables us to discover our ancestors' culture before. And as we all know, our technology before is very different from what we have today. We don't have laptops, cell phones, printers, and any other materials that could be used in order to write down what had happened before or how did our ancestors lived. Also, through this discovery, we were able to know that our ancestors during this time lived inside the cave. And this is where they carved or drew what they have and what they do in their daily life. So as you can see here in the picture, there are people who are drawing pictures of animals, which we all know that our ancestors before lived and survived by hunting animals and uses each parts for a purpose. In the next picture, this is a miniature statue called Venus. It depicts a rudimentary carving of a voluptuous woman out of ivory or stone, and it is excavated miniature statue in the different part of Europe that is prevalent in the Paleolithic period. Next, we have here the bones or teeth of an animals that our ancestors had caught. Also, before, if a person will catch a bear, then they will remove its tooth and make it as their necklace, wear it as their trophy, or to show people that they are good at hunting. So our ancestors are gifted with brains that are more advanced than any other creatures, which allows them to utilize things in their environment for their survival. So as we all know that during this era, people utilize things that they could see around them. For example, stones. They use stones in making weapons, and they also use stones in making fire. We will talk more about that later. Also, our ancestors come to think that humans are vulnerable with being naked. So they begin to cover themselves with garments. So where do you think our ancestors get clothes? You have any idea? Well, to answer that question, simply from the animals that they've caught. The animals' fur serves as our ancestors' garments in order to make their body warm and protect it from any harm. Also, our ancestors are deeply engaged in the concept of beauty. They like shiny stones and perfectly shaped bones. Stone Age. Stone Age is the prehistoric cultural stage or level of human development characterized by the creation and use of stone. Also, in this stage, our ancestors are called Homo erectus, or the upright man. The upright man, they discovered fire and have been using it to cook their food. And by chipping stones, they produced fire without realizing the laws of friction and heat. So as you can see here in the left picture, there is the Homo erectus, or the man, knocking the stones together, and in the right picture, they already have fire, and they uses the dead branches of the trees to serve as their firewood. So after the Homo erectus, the Homo sapiens, or the wise man, existed. They developed weapons used for hunting. Their weapons are made by sharpening stones, and an example for this is the simple machine called the wedge, as you can see here in the picture. They also made an axe and hammers. So later on, they discovered minerals and began forging metalwork. So examples are the copper that is used to create fashioned weapons, and copper that is added by tin, so they melted this together to create bronze tools. And they realized that these substances are more durable and malleable than the previous materials, which is the stones. Lastly, for our ancestors' religion, or the gods they worshipped, so our ancestors before, they worshipped many kinds of deities or primitive gods, and these include the elephants and the mammoths, which is awed by their size and worshipped as the owner of the land and asking blessings in their hunting ground. On the contrary, they might, so we will use the word might because this is just a possibility that people today are making based on their observations and explorations before. So, yeah, they might hunt mammoths for their woolly coat that is used for our ancestors' garments, and meat which could be eaten by a whole community, so as their food. And also, they have different gods for each places or place, and these are in the windy places near mountains, they might have a mountain god to explain them wind currents and ask for provisions. In near the bodies of water, they might have a water god asking for a good catch when they are fishing. So throughout the course of history, religion remains contender to science arguably due to its being the most easily grasped. So that's all for my part, and I will now hand the floor to Ms. Jaika Maynaparan for the topic Human Condition in the Common Era.
Hello everyone, good day. So I am Jaika Minaparan and I will be going to discuss the human condition in the common era. So Miss J and Lafranco discussed the human condition before common era. So it is my turn to discuss the human condition in the common era. Okay, so let us start. So humans were content of their relationship with nature. So this is the start when people are gathered already. They are not gathered as family, but they are forming communities na. Like, it will start as communities, then it goes bigger until makaform sila og small civilization and become a large civilization. So, earliest case of man-made extinction occurred over 12,000 years ago, brought by hunting and territorial dispute. So, the Holocene extinction. So, what is Holocene extinction? So, it is also called as the sixth extinction, or more aptly Anthropocene extinction, occurred as early as between 100,000 years up to the present. So, this is the ongoing extinction of several species, both flora and fauna, due to human activity. So, when we say flora, it is plants, mga plants na siya. Then fauna is animals. So, driven by their primal need to survive, humans were quick to find ways to drive off other megafaunas, threatening a prospective hunting spot. So, in this time, humans were kanang like it's more like paunhanay sila og hunt og megafaunas. So, when I say megafaunas, it's like big animals in the prospective hunting spot. Kay like daghan sila manghunt because of the overpopulation, as the population grows bitaw the community grows. So meaning to say nagkadaghan ang humans, so nagkadaghan sad ang maghunt anang mga megafaunas. So example ani is a mammoth, what we call mammoth. It is an ice age species. So recent study says that mammoth, the extinction of mammoth is due to the overhunting or the excessive hunting sa humans. That's why the mammoth extinct. So it's same as in this situation that like magpaunanay sila because for them to provide their needs, to provide food to their families. So due to overpopulation in this era, there's also an overhunting. So they began to hunt, farm, and produce things with prospect of profit. So in this time, they are not just hunting to provide foods or to provide their needs, but also to gain profit. So in this time, they began to trade, like sell products, to sell their what things they produce and what they hunt. So they began trading this time. So when they could not sell products, they used their skills and got compensated for it, bringing forth a specialized group of artisans. Physical strength was valued at most, although they appeared to be as many intellectually gifted figures just the same. So, humanity became more complex. So, nagka-complex na ang humanity during the Common Era. The primary goal was not merely to survive but to live the good life. So, as what I have said earlier, they're not just hunting or like producing things to provide their needs, but to also have a good life na. Not just to survive, but to have a good life and comfortable and easier life. Although the good life envisioned before might be pale in comparison to the multifariousness of today, it offered us the initial intricacies of how today came to be. In addition, medicine was thus born, although it would take a considerably long time before it part ways with potion. So technology has been instrumental because in searching for a good life, people were able to come up with creation that would make life easier, more comfortable, and enriching. So the humans of today are much better off compared to humans several centuries ago. Advancement in medicine, technology, health, and education ushered in humanity's best yet and show no sign of stopping. So this time, nagka-advance na ang in terms in the field of technology, medicine, health, and education compared to sa una. So nagka-advance na siya. And here are some notable comparisons then and now. First is mortality rate. Due to technology, lesser women and children die during birth, assuring robust population and strong workforce. So, less na ang mga when there's someone na to give birth, like less na ang more likely makasurvive na good because of the advancement of technology, unlike before that lack of technology. And most likely if mga anak bito sa bahay nga na, so like more kuwang mga gamit, so naay possibility nga di gid ka survive both the mother and the child. So next is average lifespan. Distribution of medicines is also made easier and faster. So science prolong lives na. So medicine, nag-produce ng mga medicine para sa mga like if na mga sakit-sakit, so naka-produce na in today's generation. Next is literacy rate. Access to education provided to more individuals generally creates a more informed public that could determine a more just society. So, in the field of education, as you can see of today, di ba, nagka-advance na yun taman-taman. So, and as years continue, it will also continuously evolve. Mas ma-high-tech pa dyan ni sunod-sunod tuig. Then last is gross domestic product or GDP. Higher country income is brought upon by high productivity, often an indicator of presence of technology. So that's it for my part, and thank you.
Let us now proceed to the essence of technology. So, humanity has come a long way from our primitive ways, and as a general rule, it is said that we are more developed than we were before. So, above data are some of the indicators that we are more developed than before, because as what Jaika and Jayan tackled all about the human condition before common era and in the common era, we can say that there are a lot of difference from our technology og sa ilaha pod kay dili pa nga naka-advance ang ilaha, whereas karon we are more modernized. Modern humans are reliant on technology in their search for the good life, because we see ways and means from nature to utilize and achieve growth, a goal that we believe would bring forth betterment, because we know that technologies help us to make our lives better. In retrospect, for us to know, retrospect is the survey of the past events. The view of technology proves to be goal-oriented, purposeful, deliberate craft humans steer in order to reach some greater goods. The view of technology proves to be goal-oriented, purposeful, because during even before common era and during common era, they are using technologies, different technologies for survival and for search for food. So in the advent of postmodernism, people began to question if anything is deterministic at all. So apart from the purpose of technology, what really is technology? So here is Heidegger's view on technology. For us to know, Martin Heidegger is a German philosopher and is one of the most influential philosophers in the 20th century. So he argued that the essence of or purpose of technology and being is different from each other. He was able to expound his point upon identifying that technology can either be perceived as first. Technology is a means to an end. What does it mean when we say technology is a means to an end? When we say a means to an end, it doesn't mean that it is an end itself, but technology is viewed as a tool available to individuals, groups, and communities that desire to make an impact on society. So when we say technology is means to an end, technology is used to achieve a goal. The second one is technology is a human activity. So the second, when we say human activity, technology can be also defined as a human activity, because to achieve an end and to produce and use as a means to an end is human activity. So this is the second perspective of Heidegger. The second perspective paints technology in such a way that each period reveals a particular character regarding man's being. So anita makaingan nga, technology is a way of revealing, because technology reveals something from a certain period of time, because through technology we are able to know the lives of people before. So a characteristic, design, or flaw unfolds based on the repercussions brought upon by immersing ourselves with a piece of new technology. In effect, through technology, a myriad of new questions begin to mount. Rather than thinking that humans have a clear idea of what to expect in the good life, it can be stated that technology allows to confront the unknown and see what would react. From the title itself, technology as a way of revealing, we view technology as a way of revealing human activity from a certain period of time, because it reveals or unconceals something that was previously concealed. But this is just another way of viewing the world. However, as long as humans are invested in growth and development, we cannot distance ourselves from this perspective. Kay in the name of growth, we view the world as a field of resources. No, atong gina-utilize ang atong resources went out attributing monetary value and seemingly priceless entities. We begin to categorize as nature as renewable and non-renewable instead of seeing as it is. So humans are reduced into the amount of productivity they are able to render during their lifetime. And our current mindset is geared toward which would utilize our own skills. A good life is one which is practical in essence. Life which makes use of the labor and which we get compensated fairly upon. It is no wonder that sciences are one of the most sought after courses, for the opportunities are plenty and the resources are bountiful. Since humans appear not to really know what they are seeking for, the search, the search continues. It is looming fear, however, that the path that we are treading will not take us to the right direction, leading us in endless circles instead in the pursuit of the good life. It is the danger presented by too much reliance on technology. Humans lose track of things that matter, reducing their surroundings to their economic value. Kay karon, kwarta na ang gigukod. Nakabantay mo nga ang atong nagkaubos na, nagkahurot na ang atong resources because humans are chasing for their economic value. As this presents strong backing by the sciences, whose reverence is also brought upon by our deluded enchantment with technology. It will prove to be Herculean task to distance ourselves from this perspective and consider alternatives. After all, it was science and technology that gave us explanations, which worked for us and benefited us. Rejecting a working, tried, and tested process seems to be foolish, more so knowing that there are no options of equal value. It will be absurd to venture the dark and the unknown, but it should be done in order for us to retrace our steps and to be able to achieve the good. So, dapat jud ni siya na himuon for us to be able to achieve the good.
So now let us move on to the backtracking the human condition. So when we say backtracking, it means to retrace one step. So all in all, the human condition improved only if by improving we measure the level of comfort, various scientific breakthroughs, and improved lifestyle of those who had the luxury to afford to do so. So there are different machineries aid in prolonging lives such as CPR, artificial ventilation or breathing machines, feeding tube which can be inserted via the nose into the stomach to provide food and water. So there are also machines or equipments for assisting those who have disabilities like wheelchair and stroke rehabilitation equipment. It also aids us in honing the efficiency in different workplaces and even exploring the universe. As to the initial aims, things really did not much differ. So why? It is because some places are still battling for their daily survival, such as diseases, tribe wars, lack of habitable territories, and competitions on resources are several factors contributing to such. So people still wage wars, except that now they are able to inflict such in a global scale. So a lot of people still subscribe to religion in explaining things that they do not know. So whether science or religion, these people are still bent on trying to make sense of the events happening. So they are still trying to discover and rediscover things that would give meaning to their lives, whether it be honor, strength, or merit. So people are still trying to make sense of their existence in the world, and technology does little to aid them in their pursuit of life's meaning. So human condition, although more sophisticated, is nothing but a rehashed version of its former self. It means that nothing much has changed since then, and nothing will change in the times to come if we fail to shift our view elsewhere. It is true that technology offered us one compelling notion of the truth and good, but we should be committed in our resolve if we want to know the real one. So Aristotle has conception of human flourishing that entertains the idea of holistic enrichment of a person situated in his society. So a notable distinction on Aristotle's idea is his subscription on evaluative concepts called virtues and their roles in achieving the good life. So we also have to be reminded that technological advancements are occurring in a rapid pace that our morality cannot keep up. No such consideration was given in this approach in achieving the good life. So science and technology provide us with the capacity to possess systematic knowledge of natural and human realities and to improve the conditions of our material life. So ethics and virtues help us to identify moral values whose application improves our internal existence and balances our individual and social lives. So, science and ethics are two necessary components man uses to enjoy a good life and well being, to realize his own essence, and to work toward perfection. Okay, to sum up everything, science and technology has been part of human activity since the beginning of our species. It has aided us in survival and helped us outsmart our adversaries, provided us comfortable living, allowed us to explore the world, and assisted us in discovering more about ourselves and especially the truth. However, it also leads to a paradox in which we are only able to see the world in the lenses of technological innovations. So, in our pursuit of growth, we have forgotten that technology only presents one approach in viewing the world. So, this forgetfulness leads us to evaluate objects as consumable or not. So our evaluation of things become one-dimensional, geared toward more production of goods for more consumption, which we believe would lead us to good life. But in reality, it does not lead us to good life. Why? Overproduction and overconsumption add to the already high levels of pollution and toxic gases that contribute to global warming. So humans' dietary choices and habits affect the environment through food-related energy consumption and waste generation. So land degradation, declining soil fertility, and sustainable water use, overfishing, and marine environment degradation are all diminishing the ability of our natural resource base to supply food. So the current unsustainable patterns of consumption and production that prevail throughout the world today are dependent on extracting, processing, using, and disposing of an ever increasing amount of natural resources from the planet and causing ever increasing environmental damage. So Heidegger was also the one who proposed that technology is what humans do. So advancement in the field exposed us to previously unknown predicaments, effectively helping us to reveal our own natures and enforcing one perspective in finding the truth.